Hello, welcome to this tutorial on how to run Cobertura and Rational Functional Tester together. Today we're going to be learning how to use Cobertura to instrument some Java code, how to merge multiple Cobertura reports, how to generate a Cobertura HTML report, how to integrate Cobertura with RFT, Rational Functional Tester, and additionally we're also going to be touching very lightly on how to use Ant to make our lives easy, just to make the integration easy, and how to modify the build.xml file to achieve that. The code we're going to be using today is some random Java code that's broken down into 3 components. Therefore, we're going to have to instrument it 3 times and generate 3 different cobertura.ser files and merge them. For simplicity, we're only going to be showing how to do this once. Additionally, we don't have a lot of time on this recording, so I want to keep it short and concise. So we're going to be seeing the process in action. So the first thing you need, obviously you need Java, you need RFT, and you need Cobertura. Additionally, you also need Ant. So here's where you can get Apache Ant. I recommend you simply download this and unzip it. You find a tutorial online on how to install it. It's really easy. It's just basically unzipping it and adding it to your environmental variables. I'm not gonna teach you how to do that because there is not enough time to do all that. So I'm gonna keep focus on the Cobertura section. But basically, you know if Ant works by simply running ant-v on the command line, and basically it tells you, hey, yeah, basically Apache Ant is working, whatever version it is. Also, as I mentioned, you're gonna need Cobertura. So find Cobertura on their GitHub page, download the zip file, and put it on a place where you remember. You're gonna need that location, right? So on my particular code, I have it in here. You can see, just unzip it, and that'll do the work. So additionally, I would like to point out to this fantastic documentation on how to use Cobertura using Ant and how to run Cobertura via the command line. You can also do it through Maven, but I didn't have a lot of luck through that, so I'm just using Ant instead, and it's at least it's easier for me. I wasn't too familiar with either Ant or Maven. I had to pick my poison, and I went with Ant, and it worked pretty well. So I'm going to show you real quick how Ant works. Basically, how Ant works is that it creates a build.xml file from whatever your current location is, and it executes some steps that are defined within that XML file. So this is how the XML file that I have looks like. It has a couple values, and you can find those values on how to run Cobertura with Ant. Basically, you just take it from there, and that's exactly how mine looks. I have a couple definitions of what the Cobertura directory is. This is where my Cobertura files lie. Let me take you there so you see, well, this is exactly the same location, so that's what it looks like. An instrumented folder is where you want to dump your instrumentation, where the classes you want to compile, you're gonna put them, and also where you want your report to lie at, right? So you take the same code that is on the Cobertura, on the Cobertura with Ant location. You just need to define what version of Cobertura you're running, and basically what I did is that I created, I put these 2 steps together, right? One to run my report once everything is done. As you can see here, it's trying to do Cobertura merging 3 files into just one, and then running a Cobertura report. Format is HTML, and it's gonna put it whatever I ask it to, that my Cobertura report lives on. So this is what's doing the trick. When you run Ant is gonna find all of these steps and it's gonna run them. So Ant runs some steps in order. So I believe this test report won't run until I ask it to run it, but this pre-compile, pre-init, and all that, it does it by default. So what you need to do is you need to put this code on all of the build.xml files that you're gonna be using. On this particular scenario, I have 3 different components, and the 3 of them need to have this code, right? However, if you have a single one, you only need to do it once. So what I'm going to do now, real quick, is I'm going to go into one of these locations, and I'm going to run Ant in there, and you're gonna see that Ant is gonna do all of the building for us, and it's gonna tell us exactly what code to run to execute our program and whatnot. Ignore the mistakes here, the errors that it's throwing out is for Javadoc. We're not too concerned with that. So it says that the build was successful and only took 6 seconds. And it even tells us what commands we need to do to run our program, right? The program we just compiled. So with this, the program should come up. If the program doesn't run and it gives you an error, let's say, for example, it's missing some dependency, what you need to do is you see this CP here, that is a class path. So what you need to do is that you might be missing the dependency here in the class path. So maybe your Ant file is not properly configured and you just need to add an extra path here. So for example, let's say it's complaining about the library called auto, for example. On this distribution library, you're gonna find it here and you're gonna put it in your class path. You're simply gonna append it there, separated by a semicolon. You know, if it's complaining about 10 of them, you simply add 10 of them. Now, our code is now instrumented, right? If you look into what it was doing, it was deleting all of the files that I wanted to delete. You see the files deleted here is also creating those folders, and then it's doing all of the instrumentation and whatnot, and it's telling us how to run the code. So now what we need to do is that we need to first verify that our instrumentation is correct, and we look into that to see, you know, if our code is here. It was recently instrumented, so all of these classes are instrumented. That's what we need. And now we need to put it into RFT. So the trick here is that for the code to work, all you need to do is to get it from here. And all you need to do is just to break that into different components of RFT. However, Cobertura has extra steps that you need to comply with. So I'm going to show you what my instrumentation looks like, because this is really what you need for just the code to execute, but you don't not only want it to execute, you want it to execute with Cobertura, right? So let's break it down a little bit. So I'm gonna open my RFT. I'm gonna go to the configure application for testing, and I'm gonna show you what one of them looks like. I'm gonna show you what the security looks like, because I believe the paths here are simpler, shorter. The main one is a little bit long. So basically, you say that the kind of program is a Java program. Here's the path to the program. Let's put it in here so you can see what it looks like. So, you know, go figure. This is where, if you go there, this is what this looks like. The main folder. Where were we? We were here. Hold on. This is also, I believe, the same as a working directory, so that looks exactly the same. Now you're gonna have here what class you want to execute and what the class path needs to look like, right? So the class is whatever the last step, the last parameter that Ant said it was. So this is the class that we're trying to run, right? And then the class path, let's just take a look to see what that class path looks like. So as you can see here, the very first thing that we have is the location to the Cobertura file. Now I did place in the Cobertura 2.1.1 into the library folder, so that I don't have to put the full path to wherever I drop my Cobertura at. It was just simpler for me just to place it there. The other thing that you need to do is you need to put where the instrumentation code is and where the regular code is at, right? You can find instructions for that in here on this Ant task section, or how to run it from command line. So you can see here it asks you, hey, you put the jar first, then instrumentation, then the classes, right? That's where I took the idea from. So everything else I believe is just copying and paste from this class path right here. There is nothing else that's different, except, as you can see here, my class path sort of ends here, right? And then I have this extra parameter telling it where to drop this cobertura.ser file, right? So this also you can take from this running test section on the command line. You see, dnet source for, that's exactly what I have on my version. So you might have to play a little bit around with the where to put the quotes and where not to put the quotes in here in this class path. As you can see here, I sort of have a trailing quote in here just to say, hey, this is the class path all the way here, and then this is just an extra parameter. So you're gonna have to play with that a little bit. I ran it, I believe, 3 times, helping my teammates on how to run this, and I basically ended up with 3 different configurations. But whatever works for you, it's just deleting a semicolon or a quote and trying again. So on this particular code, you need to run it on sequence for it to work. So you need to run the main first, and then the security, then the spot. So that's why I'm jumping around between security, because Squishy had the cleanest class path for you to look at. Otherwise, it would have been a little bit polluted with the full path that I was given to this pantherload main. But now I'm going to run this one, right? So basically, now when you run this, the trick here, without having everything else, this particular version is going to break. And if your code does not terminate correctly, the Cobertura file for that code is not going to get created. So I'm going to run spot. I'm going to hope for the best. I believe 101 spot on this particular code is open. Yes, it is. So I'm going to ask for... Oh, okay. Well, it didn't at least break completely, so that's good. So I believe if I close it now, it should have generated the Cobertura server file correctly. Let's see if that is the case. So I was running pantherload main, and yep, it was, the last date was modified was right now. So that's very important. If it throws an exception and and the code crashes, it's not going to create this. You're not going to see this file changing. So now that basically everything on RFT is configured, that's it. That's all you need for generating this Cobertura self file. So now that you're there, all you need to do is really learning how to merge the files and how to run the report. So what I did is that I created this simple task here, this test report. So when you run Ant test report, what it's doing is going to run this Cobertura merge, which you don't have to do if you have a single Cobertura file. But if you have multiple ones like I do, you're going to have to run that. And then it's going to build the report based on that, right? So let me see where I'm at. I'm on pantherload main. So I'm going to run Ant test report. And what that's going to do is just to simply merge the file as I mentioned and create the report. So supposedly everything is merged. I'm not going to have a great coverage here because I only clicked a couple of things manually, but that's good enough for me. And let's go here to see if the report was created. So the report was generated right now, as you can see. It's the same date. Let's find the index file. Yeah, Chrome. And there you go. Basically, here's the report for Cobertura. You can expect, drill down a little bit into different sections and whatnot, whatever you're interested on. But that's basically how it looks like. And I believe that's all I wanted to show you, really. Just, running Ant, using the build XML, getting Cobertura to merge the files, to generate the reports, to instrument, and how to run it with RFT. So let's call it a day, and thank you for watching.